Generic greetings and welcome to a channel update. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. Indeed, the last one was in January 2017, so 10 plus months, so I thought it was about time I updated you on what happened over that Christmas period, the last 10 or so months on the channel, and the main reason for this video is to explain what the hell YouTube's been doing over the last couple of months, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, and what it means for myself, the channel, what's going to happen in the future, the changes, and also what you can do to help. So if you're not aware, over the Christmas period and in January, I took a couple of weeks off to step back from the channel and have a serious look at it because it was dying. This place was on life support for months. And I'm not just saying it was a little bit of a rough patch. I'm genuinely saying that I was a couple of steps away from flinging in the towel and calling it generic partners for the last time because it was completely and utterly unsustainable. I'm not just saying views were down and things like that. I'm talking that views were 20% of what they were from, say, a couple of months prior. There was people unsubscribing by the tens, if not hundreds, a day, and nobody at all was finding the channel, and I had to figure out why. So I took a good look at the channel, everything, and pretty much shook everything up, and it was the biggest change since I started this over 4 years ago. So I pared the number of series down, which were many, and I brought them to really the 4 series that we have now, which is your standard construction or let's play format, which runs currently Monday to Friday, where previously they ran at like odd times, so it was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the advantage with that was you could give feedback and I could implement it better, but to be honest with you, it was unsustainable, so I had to get rid of it. Also, the series lasts forever, whereas now Monday to Friday, easy to understand, and you know, actually the series ends and you get more videos, so that's fine. The standard preview stuff hasn't changed. Random game, random beverage. By the way, today's beverage is a cup of tea. It's not great. It's still using skimmed milk because that's all the shop had, but hey ho. Anyway, and also you've got like nostalgia games as well. And that's pretty much what the series are now, and previously it was all over the place and blah blah blah. And that seemed to work. Also, the titles of the videos were slightly different to what they are now. They are quite generic now, which fits the channel, but originally they were, we could call them unique, but in reality they were confusing and not optimized for searching at all, which is why nobody was finding anything. It was just all over the place and confusing, so changing it to what it is now resolved that. So happy to say since then, it's been fairly decent. In fact, the channel has grown by over 1/3 in subscriber base, the highest growth since I started in at least 1 year. The views are double of what they were this time last year, and likes, comments, subscriptions, the whole thing is just up, so that's just dandy. That's like, it's been one of the better years, which is fantastic. So you might be thinking, well, is all good in the YouTube land? No, it certainly isn't, and the reason for it is this. This image symbolizes the bane of my YouTube existence and has been a fairly big problem for me personally for about 5 or 6 weeks. It's actually been around for a fair number of months now. It shows that a video is running limited to no ads. Now, this is known as the Adpocalypse, and if you have a search for that, you'll find a lot more educated, eloquent, and indeed qualified people who'll talk about that in detail, the reasons for it, and what it means. But essentially, YouTube are terrified, absolutely terrified, of running ads on videos that may be deemed inappropriate or something that advertisers don't want to have ads on. And like I say, the reasons are many, but their own guidelines are so vague, open and broad that you can apply it to pretty much anything. Now, I'm a fairly, I would say, family-friendly channel. I feature only videos about gaming. Generally those videos are building or little indie games or things that I don't think are very like hardcore. There's very little shooter stuff on here, very few war games, things like that. If there is any violence, it's within context and is based around like mechs or something like that. There's very little graphic content, if at all. I don't curse on videos. The handful of times that I've done so over the course of nearly 2,000 videos, it's with context and either direct read from what I'm reading on the game, or it's used for effect to get a particular point across. So I haven't really been hit a lot, but it's only getting worse. But as I said, their guidelines are so broad, you can apply it to pretty much anything. So it's things like controversial issues and events, drugs, dangerous products or substances, harmful or dangerous acts, hateful content, inappropriate language, violence, even if it's in video games, any like clip shows that may have like kill streaks or things like that. All of these can be classed as inappropriate. Even running war games, even for example Bomber Crew, a game I featured recently, that was flagged as inappropriate, although to be fair it has been overturned, but I'll get on that later on. But essentially it's a case of you can upload almost anything, and the big black box bot will go around and go, it'll reach out with its clawed, shriveled hand, pull it in and go, this doesn't taste friendly, and then fling it back out, and there you go, it's demonetized, because nobody knows what's going on inside this black box. It's just a AI, it's just a machine working all this out, and just an algorithm. That's all it is. And the problem is that it is so aggressive in what it's doing that pretty much everything is getting hit. There's even been channels taken down because it thinks that they don't just breach these rules of the guidelines for advertising, they just breach rules in general. And these are like education channels and things like that. It's fairly broad spectrum. Anyway, I digress. As I said, this symbol represents limited to no ads, and that means that the algorithm has gone through and found that something in that video, or maybe even just the file name, the title, the description, the tags, or whatever, is in breach of one or more of these guidelines, and as such, it's just not going to run ads on the video. It does say technically limited or no ads. In my experience, it is flat out no ads, but maybe other people's experience is different. But that's a problem. That is a fairly big problem. The thing is, I run ads and have been doing so for a while now, but they're fairly unobtrusive. I only do a pre-roll, a post-roll, and if it's a particularly long video, I'll put one in the middle as well. And they are either 5 seconds skippable, 30 seconds long, or a banner. I don't put in multiple unskippable minute ones. I don't put in adverts every like 5 minutes or anything like that. I don't bombard people with them. I don't ask people to click on them or anything like that, or like, subscribe, blah blah. I just, you do you, that's fine. But this has become a problem. You see, I started the channel originally as a bit of a laugh, a bit of a hobby, something to take me out of my comfort zone and make me do things that I wouldn't otherwise have done, expand my skill base. It was a bit of a therapy thing for me. But it's become far more than I ever expected. And because of that, it's become part of my life and my daily routine. It's multiple hours a week to deal with all of this, and that's just the bits that I can see. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff, like managing all of the channel and dealing with the press stuff and blah, 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 that, I just do naturally, and I don't really count as, like, time and effort to put into it. But it's a lot of work running a YouTube channel, far more than I ever expected. And the thing is, can I honestly say to myself that if that just stopped paying tomorrow, would I be able to afford to set the amount of time it requires to keep it going? No. It just wouldn't be worth it for me. So what it means really is that I have to keep a real close eye on what happens with the whole Adpocalypse in YouTube thing, particularly over the next couple of months and really up to Christmas, and then see where we are after that. Now the thing is, because the channel's fairly innocuous, as I said, I haven't had a lot of videos hit, but even still, it's getting worse. So, for example, the last couple of weeks, every airport CEO apart from 2 videos have been hit with this. I've had to request manual reviews. Also, half of the heat signature ones, 2 of the interplanetary out of the 4, and about half of the random games, random beverages, previews, things like that, have been hit by it. And the thing is, I have requested manual reviews and have been looked at fairly fast as well. I must confess, there was only one of them that took a couple of days to come back, and all of them have been upheld in my favour and said, yeah, okay, you can run it on there. But it's still an extra step, it's still an extra problem, and it shows really what's going on. Because of this, I've already introduced some changes, and this is really not something I wanted to do, but it's just something I feel I have to. Because there is a pretty much 50-50 chance of every video I upload being hit by this, and then I have to request a review and wait for it to come back. It's added at least an extra day onto the delay of uploading and releasing, and it means I'm going to have to do more pre-record now. I'm not going to be able to take as much comments and feedback. I'm going to have to make sure that videos are not just done either on the same day or the day before. It's going to have to be at least a couple of days prior, because otherwise I can't afford to sit around and have videos either waiting in there, delaying the schedule, or putting them out there with them not running anything, because the majority of views come in the first 24 to 48 hours. So having it run and then have them appear is sort of pointless. So I'm going to have to do a lot more pre-record, a lot more bulk upload and things like that, which fits in anyway. I mean, I'm happy to do that, but obviously just means there's going to be less comments and feedback being used to improve designs, especially on the long build series and things like that. So I guess the summary is as follows. Because of the aforementioned problems, I'm going to be uploading a lot more in advance and in bulk. Not always, but the majority of stuff I will have to now. And I guess the downside for you is that when we do long build series, I won't be able to implement as much comments and feedback into the build, and it won't be as reactive as it was previously. That's really the only downside. Obviously, I'll still be reading all of the comments. I'll still be looking at that, and obviously there's Twitter and Patreon page and whatnot. So I'll still be reading all of that, and, you know, when you have requests for certain games or want to see more, I'll still be reading that. That's fine. But yeah, it just means a fairly big change in the schedule for me, but also in the build series they may suffer as well. But it's just something I'm afraid I just have to do. It's just no way of getting about it. So, is there anything you can do to help? Well, yeah, there's plenty actually. For a start, you can like, comment, and subscribe, which is something I very rarely say because I get a horrible twinge in my stomach when I do. But the fact is, it does help the channel out a great deal. Every time you share the videos with friends and family and whatever, whether it be on social media or just anywhere, it helps the channel out a great deal. Every time you like and comment and engage with the channel and stuff, then that all helps everything out. Also, if you run ad block, then just knock it off when you're watching my videos, or just when you're just on one or two. The thing is, you can, you know, watch a 30-second ad and then watch a 25-minute video about doing the spaceships. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask. Yeah, if maybe I don't know. I also turned on the YouTube gaming sponsorship. Now, it's something that I'm fairly confident most people have no clue of its existence, but essentially it allows you to sponsor a channel and chip in a couple of generic units of currency a month towards them. You get certain perks, the majority of them being to do with live streaming, which obviously I don't do, but if you want to sponsor the channel, you can do it that way via YouTube. If you do want to chip a couple of generic units of currency my way, however, the preferred method is still Patreon. I set this page up a while ago now, and it's been fairly steady away. I made one announcement video, I had a sponsored series, and that's it. I haven't mentioned or really advertised the fact since. It's been on the channel front page since I started it, and in the description, but I haven't been marketing it or anything like that. It's where I put all of my words, so anything that isn't necessary to get across to you like now, I'll put there. So anything about real life or gaming or questions or discussing the industry or any controversies and things like that, I always put there because I think it's safer, it's a closer community, you can have a better discussion for certain things. It just, it's a place where I can put things longer than a tweet. Like say, if you do want to chip me a couple of generic units of currency and net yourself some generic appreciation points, then hop over there, check it out. We have FAQs, we have discussions about all different types of topics, real life, gaming, whatever. Like I said, it's just really a place where I put all of the words. Other than that, it really is just a case of suck it and see what happens. YouTube hold all the cards, and if they want, they are all aces. They can do really whatever they want. They are a private company. A lot of people are obviously flinging the whole censorship via money around and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I'm not going to get in that discussion. There's merits both ways. At the end of the day, I just have to make sure that if I do continue going with this, it's viable and that it doesn't hurt myself and anything else, because really, that's just the necessity of life. That's just how it is, I'm afraid. Either way, I'll be keeping an eye on it up until the Christmas period, and then we'll see what happens after that. Obviously, nothing's ever going to be ideal. I know a lot of people are always shouting about, oh, go over to Twitch, do live streaming. I'm not the live stream type of guy. I've always said when I started this that I may try it, but I still, after 4 years, have really no inkling in doing any sort of live streaming. I don't find that format appealing for me and my personality. It's not something I want to really go down. Maybe I'll look into it, maybe not. I say I'll look into it at some point, and I don't end up, because I don't have any drive to do it, but we'll see. Oh, also, people ask for merch now and again. Is that something you have any interest in? Because I really can't see people wearing +1 generic t-shirt reference on a t-shirt, although perhaps I don't know, I'll look into that because, you know, maximising revenue streams and all of that. Either way, hope it hasn't been too boring for you, and if nothing else, maybe you've been informative on what's actually going on, especially when it comes to the channel and YouTube. Either way, hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.